All right, everyone. Isabel Hunt here. For those who don't know, I am a sociologist, an author of the book The Power of Faith-Driven Success, which is up right now for the top 10 of the Author Academy Award, which I'm very excited about. Yay! Oh, I'm excited to see who will win. Maybe it's me, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm an author, I'm a speaker, and I am also a certified transformation coach. So I'm doing a lot of things, wearing a lot of hats, but most of all, I'm a sociologist. So that is what I do for a living, especially when it comes to the topic of emotional awareness and personal responsibility. And I often hair all over, and I often talk about the topic, or not often. My main focus of my speaking topics are shattering cultural barriers through the power of emotional awareness. Today, I felt really compelled to record a video, and I hope people can really follow my thought process because I'm still kind of thinking through it, and I realize when I actually go public and when I speak on the topic, usually my thoughts become more aligned and I can figure it out better in my own head, but also persuading it better in that way. I actually made a couple notes today because this is a topic that is very close to a situation happening here, and I want to try to not get into details and not name names and make it too obvious, because what I really want to focus on is the social aspect, the social contract that is being created within that situation, that not just only works within the smaller setting of an organization, but is also transferable to our society as a whole, nationally as well as globally. And I think it's something we all need to become aware of. And I titled it The Rise of Evil. I know that's quite a catchy topic. We're like, excuse me, what are you gonna talk about? I'm gonna be honest, it is a little bit of a clickbait title, but I didn't really know how else to title it, because it does actually make sense, The Rise of Evil. Over the last couple of months, a lot of things have happened around here in one part of my life that is related to an organization. Now, when I talk about organization, it could be anything from your church environment, your organization that you work with, school environment. Any of that is pretty much a really good breeding ground. I still have hair somewhere over and it's bothering me. That's the problem with long hair. Anyways, so that is a good breeding ground for the conversation that I'm going to have with you today. Like I said, I did make notes because when I talk, I'm a little worried that if I really speak from the when I do speak from the heart, that I might slip into accidentally a conversation that probably should be more private. But I want to, like I said, I want to really convey the overall structure that has been created within that specific organization. As an overall understanding of where I'm coming from, just know that every single person, and I truly wholeheartedly believe that, is within their current situation, has certain experiences in life, experiences certain patterns in life for a very good reason. And that reason is to be a lesson, to be learned, to eventually really understand what it means to be able to forgive not just someone else, but more so yourself, and then move forward on your soul's journey toward the absolute and truth-filled understanding of oneness with the divine force that we all are. And so it's pretty much just shedding our experiences, are just shedding the different layers that we have put on top of what it means to embrace, to embody, and to interact from a place of unconditional love for ourselves and for others. So that is the ground that I'm on, the foundation of what I want to speak about, because now I want to get a little bit more specific in terms of an example. So you can pretty much take any kind of organizational environment where you have people working with each other. And so let's say one of the people within that organization does something that is not in alignment with your ethics, with your morals, with the guidelines of what your organization stands for. And so you make that decision to let that person go, which is understandable, and I'm sure there is no judgment around that, considering that it's just not in alignment with your mission as an organization. It's just not something that you want to portray as the organization in regards to your mission in general. That is the responsible way to do it, especially if you believe that there could be other people involved in that, or could be, I don't know, be influenced by any of what has happened. So there's nothing wrong about that. However, and that it's not just an example what I have observed within the specific organization that I'm talking about as an example, but it has also been shown in the workplace that I worked at a couple years ago. It has been shown up, or it showed up in environment settings when it comes to colleges that I worked at back home in Germany. So it is actually not a cultural thing. It is a social structure that we have created and how we work within our mind. So usually, or sometimes what happens is that if it was a person of a great impact on the organization, it is really heartbreaking to lose that person to the organization. Maybe they've done really great work. Maybe they've were really great leaders. Maybe they had the ability to sell really well if it's within a work environment. Like really supporting the success of the organization, of the institution itself. So what often happens within that situation, that you have two sides. So it depends on what the exact situation is, but most of the time when you have situations that are ethically and morally not okay, you have usually two people involved in that. Most of the time you can pick any example pretty much. If it's, again, morally, ethically guidelines that have been misused, it's usually about two people. And something that I have noticed is that we all often, especially when it becomes very personal, respond from a place of pain and hurt and wounding. And sometimes if it gets to the point where we feel really triggered about something that just has happened in regards to the person that had been let go, there's some trauma inside of us that needs healed. Maybe some story, some belief, something that you have been close to. And so what happens usually from this place is that there's a group that comes together, and then it's us versus them, right? The problem is when it doesn't even matter if one person was right and the other person was wrong. That is not even the question. The problem is when people experience a lack of awareness and discernment and understanding what is actually really happening here without reflecting back to themselves or where someone may come from to make certain accusations. The thing is, when it comes to sociology, when one person shares an idea and gets together with 2 or 3 people and makes it very clear that this idea is the truth, it becomes a concept very quickly. When something becomes a concept, an idea that we carry around, an idea that makes sense, an idea that is considered a guideline or something to that point, it becomes a construct. Meaning, when a concept turns into a social construct, that means when it is becoming the truth within the institution, within the organization, you create a place of togetherness. Now you have lots of people together, work together, be together, depending on what exactly the institution is about. So when you have already 2 or 3 people together that believe in that one social construct, most often what happens subconsciously is that we do not want to be left out. So we jump on the train, if we agree or not, even if we're quiet and not stand up as a leader within the group setting, we are participants. So at some point, the 2 or 3 people that created the idea, the concept, attract more and more people. So at some point, everyone is involved and it creates more and more problems. That shouldn't be happening if we were to have a high level of awareness and reflection and a understanding of discernment. And understanding the journey each one of us is on. Let's see what else. Like I said, it would be so easier if I could just share the exact story, but I can't. So when we buy into an idea, into a construct, as you see, I love this word construct. If you buy into the idea of a construct, you automatically find yourself within the environment of peer pressure. We are all naturally, that is a natural part of who we are. We want to be part of something. We want to be part of a group. If it's family, if it's school group, like nobody wants to be left out. In addition to that, if it is in a work environment, we don't want to lose our job. Maybe there is some kind of survival attached to the position that you have. So instead of going against the force of the group, you either start to participate or you justify the story in your head to the point that it justifies why you're part of the group, even if you actually don't really believe in what's happening. So subconsciously, you are creating a story within your own that again justifies your actions and your behavior so that you can feel better about yourself. That is group pressure. That can create movements. That can create an us versus them scenario. And within an us versus them scenario, you always have the tendency to justify your behavior. Because most of the time when it comes to the place of us versus them, you are responding from a place of trauma, from a place of wounding, from a place of unresolved stories that have to do with you as an individual, not actually with the overall situation that caused the new social construct of belief within the organization. So that can happen that things can be taken to a totally new level of what some people might call witch hunt. I don't really like that because in the end, it really is just a war within ourselves, and we find the validation within the group setting because we just have created a social construct from just an idea without discerning if that idea is true or what that other person was responding from. I have seen that even within the Me Too movement or Time Is Up movement, where lots of people participated in that, claiming they want change and transformation, yet what really happened is and was that they're responding from that place of still carrying all that with them, of pain, of hurt. And when someone is in pain, when someone has been hurt, you know how people usually respond to that, right? They're adding to it. They want revenge. They want justification. And by that, we actually don't create transformation. We don't actually move forward. We don't actually create empowered leaders. We just create more pain and just reverse the situation. Now I'm at you. Now I'm going to make sure that you're suffering as much as we are suffering because we have to justify our own suffering. I hope that makes sense, because you really have to dig deep and you really have to go a lot behind the curtains to understand the social structure that is being established. Now, for one, this whole scenario within your organization can create a very, very negative vibration. It's almost like it's very repelling because it's always just being at war, not just with the person that you may have just let go that didn't align with your morals or whatever, but it's a war within in yourself. It actually is more so a reflection of what's going on within you that you try to justify through what the other person did. That is not helping. That is not bringing transformation within a society. That is not bringing transformation within the church. That is not bringing transformation within any institution or organization. But if we are not honest within ourselves why we feel triggered, what has this done for me, understanding that even though you weren't directly involved maybe in the situation, there's still something for you to be learned. A lesson. Maybe if it did trigger you, there is something that needs attention, something that is inside of you, and an experience that you had over the years that need healing, that need focus. Because at any given time in this lifetime, you are where you are at for a reason, because there is a lesson within the situation that you find yourself in. If you made that choice consciously or subconsciously, it doesn't take away from the power of the lesson that you're called to learn from that. So instead of buying into the peer pressure of believing everything that you hear, ask yourself the question, what is it that I need to learn within that situation? Because let me tell you this, when you come from an idea and you create a concept and turning that into a social structure, you not just have a us versus them scenario, you have a guilty versus not guilty. You have a bad versus good. You have an evil versus good scenario. And in the end, especially when it comes to Christians, which honestly I see that a lot within that area, they feel that they have the power to judge because they are God's people. And that is not how this works. No. The power lies in self-reflection. The power lies in being honest with yourself and why certain situations trigger you more than others. It is never about the other person who may have caused the turmoil and the situation that happened, but it is always about you and how you choose to reflect back to yourself. It is about taking personal responsibility. The question is really, when we have created situations and somehow got into those situations, how can we take a different look and evaluate a situation from a more mature level? Instead of buying into the construct of guilty versus not guilty, versus bad versus good, or just justification, justifying your own inner wars and what you feel like you're dealing with. If you can buy into someone's idea about a specific person, just know that there is something for you to be healed inside of yourself. The question, like I already mentioned, I think I mentioned that before, some questions to ask yourself, and like I said, I wrote some stuff down. Why do I buy into the overall social construct that was created from a single action that I wasn't even personally involved in? What got triggered within myself? What memories, beliefs, and stories I tell myself may have come up for me to simply buy into the construct, something that has justified, confirmed, validated what I experience in life, something on a deep level. We think we save people. We think we just have saved the organization by calling out evil. But if a group comes together to continue the conversation, not about forgiveness, but about justification, about I'm missing the word. About justification, about having to make things right somehow in your own weird, twisted understanding. It never works toward forgiveness. It never brings in and brings us closer to embodying unconditional love. Instead, again, it brings up judgment and division. Another question for you to ask yourself personally, if you find yourself ever in a situation like that, what is the outside world reflecting back to me that if there wasn't a lesson in there for myself, I wouldn't even face it? Everything that is happening around you is a reflection of something that's happening within you. Take a look at that. Take a really deep, honest, personal look at that. What is the lesson in all of this for me? Not just, oh, I can't trust anyone, or, oh my gosh, people I never thought would manipulate me. Maybe they did, and maybe you just believed in the social construct of it. It's really about you. What is it really deep inside of me speaking to? Maybe there's some insecurities. Maybe there are some beliefs about yourself. Maybe it has to do with your level of confidence, with your level of trusting, with your level of just being in the flow, but also maybe a lesson in forgiveness and what that really looks like and what it could look like. Being able to forgive someone else starts with being able to forgive yourself, first and foremost. It never, I know there's so much wrongdoing in this world, and we always think about, oh my gosh, they did me wrong. They were mean, they were assholes, whatever. But if you take a very close spiritual look, it never matters whose fault it is or was. I'm not talking about justice. I'm not talking about like, now people would come at me and like, well, but if this person murders someone, then we should not, that it doesn't matter. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking not on the tangible level. We have to make sure within a social society that there is certain order, because sometimes people deal with so much on a daily level, on a personal level, that brings up a lot of anger and a lot of even violent behavior that they are trying to justify through what they do. And there needs to be some order, or some people would just go, yeah, a lot of people just do not have this awareness, right? So that is necessary. But like I said, I'm going a level deeper. If we were to all have this understanding that it is always about me and never about the other person, it would never matter whose fault it was or is, or if you were even personally involved. It is always about the reflection back to you and your imprints in your brain, your stories, your beliefs, the way you have been primed, the labels you have put on yourself or that others put on you and you believe them, the boxes you find yourself in. Anything that is outside of alignment with embodying true unconditional love is something that needs to be healed. Like I said, the world is always a reflection, a mirror of your inward world. We can't build strong organizations. We can't build transformative institutions or mission-driven organizations if we do not focus on a very high level of awareness within ourselves and not just asking for revenge, justifying our own thoughts and our own beliefs and our own actions. Everything that you are happening, I want to invite you to really think about that. Everything that is happening to you. Maybe instead of saying, oh my gosh, this is Satan at work or whatever, I really do not believe in that. We're giving, there's a way too much power given away without having to take personal responsibility. That's the problem. But if you could see everything that is happening to you as an opportunity to heal old wounds, to heal old traumas, beliefs, belief structures and patterns, it changes your outlook completely on the world, how you experience the world, how you even can function within this organization. If you can do the inward work to a level of always looking at what does it say about me instead of it is their fault, you have a much bigger impact on people, because what you're practicing is true grace, mercy, forgiveness. Seeing the other person, seeing everyone else involved. And sometimes it is necessary to reflect something back to people saying, hey, I see you're totally reacting to this. You're totally buying into the whole little movement that we have created here. But what does it actually really say about us? What are we really doing here? Can we take a deeper look? That is true leadership. Leadership is not about revenge. Leadership is not about being right. Leadership is not about just doing the work that I've been told to. Leadership is about honest reflection within myself so I can lead from a place of love, and including everyone into the process of healing. Like I said, it is never about the concept of right or wrong. Because even what we experience as right or wrong is defined by our own experience of life. If we truly come from a place of love and understanding and acceptance and learning, the ability and the willingness to learn, we always come from a place of love and are the most effective leaders. And within that, it is very difficult to have a society rising within evil, meaning non-awareness, lack of awareness, non-compassion, non-acceptance, judgment. That is what is dividing us. And it works within smaller institutions, small organizations like school settings, church, your workplace. And like I said, it can be transferred on a national level. It can be transferred on a global level, because this is how peer pressure works. This is how we work within a social structure that we have created without questioning the deep inner motivations, expectations, and intentions. And that is what I want to challenge you to really take a look at what's happening to me. Is not that is bad, or that I have to dwell on that, or that I have to create a pity party, or this. Just allow yourself to be angry about it. That's perfectly okay. But also take a moment and say, hey, what do I have to reflect on within myself? Why is it really triggering me? Why is it really bothering me? Thank you so much for listening. If you made it through all the 30 minutes, thank you so much. I think I conveyed my message pretty clearly, hopefully. Maybe it was just in my head. But if I did, please leave a comment. Maybe you have some other ideas in the rise of evil. I know it's a bit of an edgy topic, but I think it is necessary for us to talk about it if we want to create true community, true transformation within communities, but also within nations and globally. Thank you and have an amazing, amazing day. And if you would like for me to come to your organization or institution or whoever, if you have a conference or an event coming up where you would like to talk more about how we can do the internal work to really create transformation on a broader level, I would love to speak at your event. If you want to take a look on my website, isabelhunt.com/speaking, there are all the information. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.